Broadcast for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. This is the Firearms Radio Network. The bandwidth for this episode of Gun Guy Radio is sponsored by Patriot Patch Company. PatriotPatch.co.
Welcome to episode 236 of Gun Guy Radio. This is the podcast that shines a positive light on the firearms lifestyle. I'm your host, Jake Challand, with co-host Zack Carlson. This is your weekly dose of positive firearms talk without the politics. Hey, Zack.
How's it going? Does this count as social distancing with through the internet?
I think so. I don't know. Are the cords touching?
I don't know. You can't breathe at me from here, so I guess I'm safe.
So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of great. I'm working from home anyways, so no change.
Yeah, basically there's no change. And I was like, there's nobody within like 100-mile radius of you, right? When you're in the bunker down there. So like the odds of it living through the air. We'll
talk about that a little bit in our prefer segment. But yeah, what's up? What did you do in guns?
Well, you remember I ordered that wrong magazine. I ordered the 110 round, 22 round magazine thinking it was for the 1022, and it showed up and it was made for that GSG gun.
Right.
Well, I was at Gun Mag's warehouse that same time. They gave me a refund on the mag, and they don't do exchanges, so they just do a refund, and then you got to order a new one. And it was out of stock, of course. Like the one I wanted was out of stock, so it has that little handy notify me when it's back in stock button. Right. So I did that. I hit the notification, and nothing. And I saw that my credit card was, positive, whatever the money for the thing was. So I just happened to check the website yesterday, and the damn thing was in stock. I'm like, I didn't get a notification. So I placed an order for that 110 round magazine. So hopefully I triple checked that it was the Ruger 1022 version. So assuming it's right and I get it, I will have 110 rounds of Bliss with the 22. And I have that AR out at Cerakote right now, and I didn't want to screw up the Cerakote on the reassembly because I stripped everything completely out. So I bought a few tools to make the job easier. Have you ever put a bolt catch in? So the bolt catch has got the roll pin that goes across it, and it's very, very few punches are made with a long enough shaft to get it without having the handle of the punch touch the metal of the receiver. But this Real Avid makes a special one that is basically like it's lopped off. So it's like think of a circular handle on a punch, but it's got one side of it completely shaved off. So it's like a D-shape handle basically. Mm-hmm. So that should run and not touch the Cerakoted receiver. So I bought that. It's only a couple bucks. I think it's $12 or something like that. And
yeah, doesn't Brownells make one?
They might, and I just happened to see it at a distributor, so I grabbed it. And then I also bought the AR pivot punch set. I thought I have one, but I wasn't sure exactly where it was, so it was just easier to buy this. So it helps, how you have to push on the front takedown pin. You have to push the detent into the receiver while you slip the pin across it. Mm-hmm. I just bought a tool to make it a little bit easier. You could do it by hand, but, I think I'm getting to the age where I'd rather just buy the right tool so I don't have to jimmy rig it to get it to work. So I got those tools, and I'm just waiting for the Cerakote job to come back, and I will reassemble, and then we'll have some cool pictures for that.
Awesome.
What did you do?
I did lots, actually. A ton.
Did your wife ever find out how much money you spent?
What? No. Who?
Yeah. I mean, your ex-wife, your pending ex-wife.
Oh, she loves me. And no, she doesn't know. So I picked up, I don't think I mentioned this, but I picked up a Stoeger 12 gauge, 28 inch barrel. It's semi-auto, just something I can shoot clays with or shoot birds with. I haven't had a shotgun for a few years, and so I thought it was time. I don't know. I moved to South Dakota, and it's the pheasant capital of the world, and I don't have something I can shoot pheasants with, so I thought that was a problem.
See, you shoot them with a rifle, and that way you don't lose you don't get all the BBs in the meat.
I don't think it's legal to shoot with a rifle in the state.
So did you get a 3500 or an M3500?
The It's the same gun, M3500.
Okay, because Brownells has a drop down where you have to pick M or regular.
I know,
I don't know what the difference is, but
the cataloger screwed that page up.
And then did you get black or did you get a camo one?
I got just cheap black. Figured I'll probably rattle can it if I really want it different. Because it's not a real expensive shotgun. It's $5.99 at Brownells. I got it a little bit cheaper through my local FFL. And at the same time, I ordered a Ruger 1022 Charger, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on.
So explain what the deal with the Stoeger is. Why did you pick this? Because what I'm looking at is it's the inertia action. So it's a semi-auto, but it's not gas like an 1187, right? Or a 1100 or whatever those Remingtons are. Is this the cheap version of the what's the brand? What's their sister brand? It's you know what I'm talking about? It's Stoeger sister brand. It's a different brand, subsidiary of Benelli. There you go. I don't know why I was having a brain fart on there. Is it the similar action? Maybe you don't know, but
I have no idea. It could be. one of the Facebook groups I'm in, I put a call out what people suggested for shotgun around the $600-800 range, and people kept saying the Stoeger. They offered up other things too, but I thought, why not? I'll give the Stoeger a try. So no real reason. It just seemed like right price point and seemed like lots of good reviews on it. So
I don't follow shotguns as closely as I probably should, but I'm almost positive it's some sort of relation to the Benelli. And you remember we shot that Benelli from Pat Kelly when you were out here, and we went out to Moses Lake and shot with him. Remember that shotgun that he had that had the stippled grip on it and everything?
Yeah, I really don't, but okay.
That was 7 or 8 years ago?
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
But I remember that being a really smooth shooting shotgun, and I think that's related to it. Have you shot it yet?
No, I haven't. I want to. I actually got a clay thrower that you can step on a switch and it throws clays. So last time I shot clays, I just completely sucked at it, and I didn't remember myself being that bad. So I'm like, I need to practice this. So.
It makes it a whole lot easier. You just chop the barrel down where there's no choke, and then it instantly spreads. And as long as you shoot really fast,
right,
you'll get it.
I've got a couple coach guns, so I could try it with that.
Sure. Yeah, this looks cool. It looks nice. It's a shotgun, so how much more can you really get out of it? But yeah, it looks like it's got a vent rib. And what's the sight on it? Is it fiber optic sight?
Yeah, it's got.
That's nice.
Like a red fiber optic sight, and it takes up to the bigger 3.5-inch shells, and there's no adjustment needed. You can throw in any size shell into it, and it will kind of auto adjust for you. So I thought that was cool.
Is the receiver drilled and tapped at all?
I don't know. You
own it.
I don't think.
The only reason I ask is JR, the owner of our company, he has a Benelli Supernova or Super Black Nova, whatever. It's a Benelli shotgun like that. And there's a special mount where you can direct mount an RMR right to the receiver if it's drilled and tapped with a couple screws from the factory.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty badass. It's still a bird gun, but with an RMR on it, it's even easier to shoot.
Huh.
So you can put almost as much into the optic as you did the gun.
Maybe that'll be the next time. So, okay. And then I panic ordered 7,000 rounds of 22 LR.
So you're the one. You're the reason. You didn't need it, but you're hoarding it.
No. I did this slightly before everyone else.
So it was actually in stock.
It was actually in stock, but I guess they're so backed up. I got it from sgammo.com, and they're super backed up. They're not even taking orders right now. They got a notice on their website saying, hey, we have everything in stock that people have ordered, but we're currently focusing on shipping all that, and so you can't even place an order. But I got a variety of ammo to try out on different 1022 builds I'm doing. So, so stuff I've never shot before, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, the ammo thing is just insane. I think it was Monday, I logged into one of our distributor accounts, and I just filtered by ammo, and I went by 9mm, and there's 152 SKUs. And then I checked the box that said in stock, and there was two. There was blanks and shot shells. I checked the next day, the shot shells were gone and the blanks were still there. And then I looked at 22 long rifle, and there was only the super expensive RWS target ammo. There was only like 3 or 4 SKUs of that left. So yeah, it's good luck buying ammo. If you need ammo right now, you're kind of screwed.
Well, so the funny thing is, locally, like, you know, it was probably 5 days later. I was in town locally, and actually 2 different towns here, and I was probably in 3 or 4 different places that stock ammo, and I could buy 9mm at any of them. I could buy 22 at any of them. So it's kind of nice.
Reasonably priced?
Yeah, regular, normal prices, yeah. So
yeah,
it's kind of nice being in them. Out here in South Dakota where people aren't freaking out, or there's not enough people to freak out or something.
Yeah. Well, and if they die of the virus, they just bury them by the hitching post and move on. Right.
Well, anyways, cool. Yeah. Patriot Patch Company helps make this episode possible. You can check out the Patch of the Month Club at patriotpatch.co. We got a unique patch delivered to your mailbox every month. Have the April patch just revealed what that was going to be. So also have 85 other patch designs in stock. Check it out, patriotpatch.co. All right, and we have a small prepper corner here before we go into the main topic. So, you know, we're seeing all this craziness going on right now. You know, we're seeing people buy just like stocking up on stupid stuff like toilet paper and tissues. And
if I asked you 2 weeks ago how much toilet paper you go through, would you be able to tell me?
No.
I couldn't either. That's why I was like, are you stocked up enough? And I'm like, I don't know how much we go. But this is how sad it is. Like, I just switched the roll in my bathroom here, and I wrote the date on the inside of the tube so that when I do change it again, I could see how long it took to get to that point. Because I have no fripping idea how often I go through it. But
it depends depends how often you eat Taco Bell, right?
Yeah, well, that's if the restaurants even stay open these days with all the craziness.
Like going into your local stores, are there empty shelves and stuff out there?
Oh my God. It was, what was that? That was a Friday that they announced the schools closed here. Mm-hmm. I think it was last Friday? Yeah. Cause we're recording on a Friday. So it was last week, and we normally shop for groceries on Saturdays. And on the way home, I was talking to my wife, and she's like, do you think I should go today? And I'm like, yeah, might as well. You know, we didn't really have a list get together, but she went in Spokane, and got to the Fred Meyer there and said she had grabbed the last cart, that the lines were all the way to the back of the store. There was 0 pasta, 0 meat, just insanity there. And so she's like, or no milk, no nothing. And so she's getting what she can, what we needed. And then she called me. She's like, there's nothing here, like really. And I was like, ugh. So I went to the local store here. We're about 20 minutes from Spokane. And so there's a local grocery store here. So I went there, and it was busy, but it wasn't like insanity. And I was able to get a bunch of extra meat. Like, I only bought stuff that we were going to normally use. Like, I'm not just buying crap to buy crap. Like, just the things we would order, I bought like another week's worth or so. Just got more of the same, just in case I wasn't there again the next time. So yeah, between that and a couple other runs, we got most everything. But it's starting to get better. But even midweek this week, she went to go to Costco, and they opened up at like 10, and I think it was like 9:40 that she went by, and the line around the building was almost twice. Just like, good Lord. And then actually she went into that same night, she went back, and just, she wasn't going to wait in that line. And the racking, you know, they have racking where the bottom rack is what's actually for sale, and everything else is overstock above it. The tops were just empty. Like, looked like it was a brand new store getting set up.
Wow. That's
crazy. Nuts. How's it by you?
So everything's a little delayed out here. So, like, when I started seeing reports of people going nuts, like, not even in your area, but other areas that were a little bit sooner, I was like, maybe I should stock up on a few things. And, like, we're pretty good about, rotating through the pantry and having way more. You know, we have a few months on hand at any given time anyways, and we rotate through it. But I was like, maybe we should create like another back stock area too. I went two different stores, and like it was business, there was no one there, business like usual and everything. Like panic definitely hadn't hit yet. And then about a week later, I was in town, not for groceries, but I was getting like home improvement supplies and stuff, because I was in the Menards, which is like a Home Depot or Lowe's if you haven't been to one. But I was walking down this aisle, and all of a sudden, like, it was almost like queued up, like in a script, where all these people were coming in with empty carts going down the toilet paper aisle, like in a line. Like they must have came straight from Walmart, because Walmart was out, and like they just cleared out the last. They were clearing out. There's some there, but they're clearing out the very last of it. I'm like, it's like lemons going off a cliff. It was pretty interesting to watch. But yeah, and then I guess our Walmart kind of got cleared out too, and stuff like that. But and toilet paper's still gone. But then we have a local grocery store that's real close to us, because our Walmart is like 30 minutes away, and then we have a local grocery store like 5-6 minutes away. And I don't know, maybe it got wiped out at one time, but I was in there a couple times, and it wasn't. You could buy anything you wanted, including ammo.
Wow. You have to start buying it all and put it up in Amazon FBA.
Well, that's the other thing. FBA shut down all sellers from sending stuff in.
But wasn't it just, wouldn't that be considered one of the essential items that they were still taking in?
Well, except they banned everyone from selling that stuff. And only Amazon and like Clorox themselves can sell it. No other sellers can sell it.
Just to prevent price gouging?
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is a pretty interesting case sample. Like the crap hasn't completely hit the fan here yet, knock on wood. But it's not like
for reference, this is the 20th of March. We might be eating those words by next show.
I mean, it's not like an EMP where we've lost power, we lost the grid, we lost. We always, when prepping, we always talk about these worst case scenarios. So it's not like we lost everything. So it's pretty interesting case study where, if just with a pandemic like this, where just people are freaking out and causing shortages when there's not really shortages, and then the governments are shutting down, businesses and everything, and just crazy stuff like that. Like, who would have thought that? Maybe I should have prepped, because my crazy governor is going to tell me I can't go to work.
Well, that's the one thing I did think when you're talking about EMPs and all that. When we were putting everything away in the freezer, I was like, man, if we lose power, we are totally screwed. Mm-hmm. Like beyond screwed. There's no recovering. Like all that food will just be garbage, and there's not enough other stuff to really make up for it, kind of thing.
Well, that's why. So when I went and got stuff, I wasn't getting the stuff everyone else was getting. I was getting stuff for the freezers, because I knew we're going to have electricity. I mean, our electricity comes from hydroelectric. The water's not going to stop flowing or anything. So I stocked up on, they were having good sales on like pork loin and like even ribs and like just lots of different kinds of meat that, wasn't price gouging, or was actually sale prices. I'm like, heck, we're going to use this anyways. I have a freezer, I have 2 deep freezers that keeps, the meat super cold, below 0 degrees. So it'll keep even longer. I'm like, we can easily stock up on this stuff and work through it, over an extended period of time, more than a year.
I mean, you've got so many kids, though, that anytime you go to the grocery store, normally they're probably like, are you a prepper? You're like, no, I just have an army of kids.
That's partly the downfall. Yeah, having a big family, they're like, because every time, usually we're buying stuff at Walmart, they're like, you having a big party or something? I'm like, no, I've got 5 kids. And so now people, like, I just did a regular Walmart run, even though we're stocked up, I'm still doing regular runs if there's stuff there, just to stay ahead of the game, just in case it does completely let loose. But yeah, I feel like I have everyone staring at me for buying like the normal amount of food that we always buy.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I don't know. And see, that's the thing too, is that, we got rid of our deep freezer because we're only 3 people, and, really 2.5. A 6-year-old doesn't eat much. And we did not rotate it religiously, and where we'd forget what's in the freezer. And then, we threw away everything all the time. You get something, it's freezer burn and everything. I don't eat that crap. So just, it was such a waste. So we got rid of it. So we were limited basically on the storage in the freezer on the fridge. Sure. And so like all the big trays of, 1 pound of meat that come in a foam tray, like we cut all those open and put them in Ziploc bags and laid them really flat and wide so they stack nice. And so we saved a lot of room there, but yeah, we're somewhat limited on freezer space.
Right. Yeah. And I think the best thing out of this is that it's turned everyone's wife into a prepper, right?
Yeah.
Because before they're like, you're crazy. Why do we need to stock up? I mean, my wife's been pretty good on prepping, but like, even so, she's like now to the nth degree all about it. And like I've seen other people talking about, their wives are asking them like, hey, do you have enough ammo? Or do we have oops, let me pause. Sorry about that. Sorry for that technical interruption. My wife, we have an intercom, and she was like, is there a cow in our field? I'm like, what? I'm like,
is that a code word? That's a code word for the boogaloo.
right. The flugaloo.
Yeah.
No, the cow was not in our field. It was across the fence, but I had to go check it out. So, anyways, joys of living in South Dakota.
What were you going to do if the cow was in your field?
Well, then
that gives you rights to shoot it?
No. Then we got to call the neighbor and try to wrangle it and all that. So, anyways, even had another guy, back to the discussion, had another friend, his wife was like, hey, can you buy a machine gun?
No, but I can make you one. Wink, wink.
Right. That's what I was thinking. You got a coat hanger?
Yeah. You're not ATF, are you? You got to tell me. It's like a prostitute. You got to tell me if you're a cop.
Right. No, for real. You're way too hot to be a prostitute. Or is it the other way around?
Yeah, I don't know. With all your the wife and everything, is did you notice like feeling guilty about eating the food that you do have? Like that's what we kind of thought. Like we used to throw away food a lot. Like just if we're done dinner and it was extra, like throw it away. Whatever, we're not going to eat it again. But we've noticed that we're a little more conscientious of actually using the food that we cook till it's mostly gone.
Yeah, I'm more vigilant about trying to get us to eat the leftovers before they go bad, because we're fairly good about putting stuff away because there's so many people that need to eat lunch around here the next day. But there's always stuff that no one's touching for whatever reason. But like tonight, I made an assembly line. I'm like, okay, line up, tell me what you want, and you got to pick 3 things, and it was all leftovers from like the last 5 days.
See, I just have a problem because I don't like a lot of stuff microwaved. Like meat microwaved to me doesn't taste right, so I'm really picky when it comes to that kind of stuff. But
you are.
I guess
picky.
in the apocalypse, I'll have to give that up.
Yeah. So, anyways, maybe we'll talk a little more prepping stuff, prepping ideas. You can send to gunguyradio@gmail.com. So, main topic, we're just talking more about what we've been up to, what I've been up to a little bit in 1022. Stuff. So where did we leave off?
We have to set the stage here because we went over a list of a myriad of parts that you bought last week or last show, and then you had kind of talked nonchalantly about some other things, and I quickly realized you had bought way more than was even on that list. And I was like, well, wait a minute, where did all these parts come from? And you just kind of you went off a little bit on the deep end on parts purchases. It seemed like. I
guess it's been a couple weeks. So this one here is the one I talked about the most. It's got the Enoch, the shorter chassis with the shawl. Was a 10 and a half inch barrel with a compensator, blue compensator on the end of it. But yeah, I don't think I put these together last time or anything. I think I just got all the parts.
The barrel last time.
Yeah, it throws me off because you and me talk off the air a bit about this, so I'm like, what did we actually talk about? So
yeah, you just had the receiver bolted in last time I saw it.
Oh, that's right, because I was waiting on parts and everything. So, anyways, one thing building these and tearing them down. I mean, like this gun, I put it together and took it down like a dozen times at least. And so, one of the cool things about the 1022s is they're so easy to work on. I mean, they're easier than AR-15 and
oh yeah, way easier.
And I mean,
it's a blowback gun too. It's a lot simpler.
Right. Super simple, especially because they, normally the bolts, you can get them fully assembled. Like it's rare that you'd be buying a bolt not assembled. It just doesn't make sense for the 1022 and the price points they're at. And then the trigger assembly is always assembled. So like those two main components, you basically pop them into your receiver, pop them into a stock or chassis, and you're good to go. And there's 3 pins and a screw. Really, is all there is to it.
Yeah, basically. Now, if you do need to get into that trigger group or get into that bolt to do things, I did videos on that. So if you search YouTube for Zack Carlson Rider 1022, I did I know they did the extractor upgrade on the bolts, how the charging handles work, how to install the bolt release like you just did there, the slingshot bolt.
I got so sick of this stock bolt release on these is just so stupid and garbage. Yeah. And like I was taking this apart and trying to do a function test with it so much, I'm like, stop it! I'm tearing it down again. Because I had the part, so I tore it down and put it in, and now it's got the auto bolt release, and I need to do it to the other one I bought too. But you can modify the factory part, but they're so cheap just to buy the stamped part that's already got the bolt release notch cut out like that. Right.
And that one I would recommend watching the video first before you do it, because the trigger mechanism is a little bit more complicated to get all back together than.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, definitely check
out. Hard.
Definitely check out Zach's videos. I actually did this. I didn't look at any video, any instructions for any of this. Now,
that explains everything.
I do have to say,
hey, wait, and how many parts did you ruin in the process?
I didn't ruin any more parts than were necessary.
Ruin such a strong word.
I did install an auto bolt release on my dad's 1022 like 10, 12 years ago. So I had done it before, but it's really, I mean, if you're
not hard,
if you're somewhat intuitive on like mechanical things, it's really easy. So I guess where do we go from here? So
wait, so you said you got that gun apart and back together 10 times. That barrel, is that a slip fit barrel or does it need persuasion?
Yeah, no persuasion on the Shaw barrel. You just slide it in, bolt it in, and you're good to go. There's what do you call that? Barrel key or barrel
V block.
The V block. There you go. And then there's two screws with hex heads, right?
Yep.
Comb hex.
Yes. And that's the thing. You probably didn't torque yours with a torque wrench, I'm assuming. If you're and that gun, you're probably not going to notice the difference, but you should torque those. There's varying opinions on what torque you should do it. Some people say 10 inch-pounds all the way up to like 25 inch-pounds. If you definitely go too tight, you can break that V block. I have broken a V block
really?
when I was 16, I broke the factory one because I tightened it too much. And there's not much webbing right where the bolt head is. And the pinching action just cracked it right down the center.
Okay.
But there's a few tips. So you said you also, do we want to talk about a kid barrel at all? Because the kid barrel was tight on yours, right?
So I put this together, and I've got this stupid Nikon on here right now because I was sighting it in and just doing tests on it, so it looks really retarded right now. But so I originally built this with a Strike Fire 2 by Vortex, right?
Vortex, yeah.
Yeah. So Strike Fire 2, but it's huge on this gun. It looks really dorky. And then Zach and I were talking about what to replace that with, so I picked up a Holosun 403B.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah,
I love this.
I think that's the best choice.
This is really great for 1022s or Chargers, and it looks good on the gun. And then
it's proportionate.
And then the kid barrel came in, so I installed the kid barrel. Had all kinds of problems, and probably would have went super smooth if I would have listened to Zach's advice. And it's funny, you sent me your advice while I was doing it, and I didn't check my messages. I'm like, dang it.
And the advice there is, so any kind of like super critical barrel, like a lot of those really match grade ones, they're a little bit oversized shanks. And depending on what receiver you're going into, they could be, it's not, a factory barrel, just you should be able to pull it apart and stick it together, pretty simple. But on those oversized shanks, you don't want to force them in. You don't want to just beat them in. The easiest way to do that, in my opinion, is to put the barrel in the freezer. But that also means you need like a few hours ahead to freeze it, and that'll contract the metal on the barrel. And then if you have a heat gun, the heat gun is better. You can use a torch. I really don't recommend it. I would recommend a heat gun because it just has more even heat. And just I put the receiver in a soft jaw vise so I don't have to touch the receiver, and then heat the receiver with a heat gun, slip that barrel in, make sure you get it in and square where you need it, aligned for the extractor slot, because that could be an issue if you don't have the bolt in, and I usually do them without the bolt, but and slip it in, because once that heat dissipates and the barrel gets warm, it will lock back up on you, so it's not easy to get back apart. And typically to get them back apart, I would hold the barrel in my hand, heat the receiver, and hit the receiver, and then hit the tang of the receiver with a dead blow hammer. Just tap it, and it'll back itself off. But that's that. I would never sand. I saw on Instagram one time they were recommending sand, like emery clothing around the barrel shank and to get it to fit to your receiver. I'm like, that is insane, because now you've just fit it to that receiver. But what if you go to move it to a different receiver later and it would have fit fine in the other receiver, but now you have it loose in that receiver? There's a lot of little goofy things, like just freezing heat, I think, is the best way.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. And you would be cringing with what I actually did to get it in. And I did sand. I took like a fine sandpaper and sanded the shaft of the barrel and the inside of the receiver.
Oh, Bubba.
Yeah, but
did you use a Dremel in there at the same time?
I did have a Dremel at one time, but it wasn't for that.
Oh no! Are you going to start soldering or stippling your own guns too?
So I decided to go ahead and do it because the Shaw barrel, I checked the fitment on it before I did it, and I'm like, what is going on here? Did I order the wrong barrel? And I'm looking at the info on the site and stuff, and I'm like, no, because I'm really not familiar with a lot of this building, gunsmithing, and all this stuff. But I looked at the Shaw barrel again, and I'm like, well, it fits in. And I figured the kid barrel, like they talk about how it has a precision tight fit and everything to eliminate any kind of slop, and they purposely, like you said, make the shanks a little bit bigger and everything. But like at the same time, I'm like, well, the Shaw barrel goes in and out, and it even has a little bit of a rattle to it before you tighten it down. So I'm like, well, the worst case scenario is a kid barrel becomes like it, and it has a little rattle to it until you tighten down. I'm not building a bench rest gun here or anything. I just want something I can shoot, a little ways. So yeah, I sanded it down, sanded it inside the receiver. It's terrible. It was awful. I felt bad. I felt ashamed. Great.
You should be.
Great shame. But I got it.
Great shame to your family.
I did. So I did all that, and then I took it out to shoot it, and it was seemed like it was shooting good, functioning good, until it wasn't. And then it started to not extract. It started to not chamber. I'm like, what is going on here? So I'm like changing, over to different kinds of ammo to see if that was it. And then I pulled it apart, completely clean it out with brake cleaner. Yes, another thing not to do. But I love me some brake cleaner. I mean, it really gets stuff clean.
I think brake cleaner can kill coronavirus, actually.
I think so, too. I mean, if God didn't invent brake cleaner, why would he not want us to use it? So anyways, I cleaned it out, and so here's where I got a little bit sideways in my head, because I had rebuilt this with a kid barrel, but at the same time I rebuilt it with a different bolt, because I had the stock Ruger bolt in it. But then I found this for Kortzen. It was a Blem deal. It's a gold bolt. It's normally like $300. It was $150. So I couldn't pass up that deal. But I rebuilt it with a different bolt. So I'm like, is this bolt causing me all kinds of issues? Is it this Verkortsen bolt that's screwing me up here? So,
and that's when you came to me and say, this Verkortsen bolt is garbage. And I'm like, really? Because I've got one and it's great. I'm not saying they're all great, but I've got good luck with it.
Yeah, and then I took apart the gun and I took the barrel all the way out of it, which was still not easy, because there's still a super tight fit. There was no wobble to it at all, but because I had to put it in a vise and kind of coax it out. Anyways,
wow.
Yeah, don't take gunsmithing advice from me. So, anyways, I get out. I'm looking at the chamber. And I'm like, what is going on here? So on a 1022, the chamber has like a chamfer cut for the extractor to slide down the side of it.
Yeah, it's a relief cut about 3 o'clock down if you're looking at the breech face.
Yep. And so I could see the circle chamber was no longer a circle. It was depressed, that cut area. It was pushed, like the extractor had pushed it in and kind of made it an oval or like an indent there. And like you could see definite impression on the outside, and then on the inside you could see it bowed in to the chamber right there on the edge where there's very little material to begin with.
That's the key. There's very little material there because the you got to think of just look at a round of 22, the body of the ammo versus the rim. That's how much material is there because the extractor has to slip over that and grab the rim and pull it out. So that it's like almost, it's really thin between the extractor slot and the chamber.
Yeah. So like initially I got in my head that this stupid Verkortsen bolt ruined my barrel and everything. But then, over the next couple of days, I got thinking about it, and you had even asked me if I tried that bolt on a different gun. I'm like, no, I don't want to ruin another barrel. but then I got thinking about it. There's no reason, there's no way the bolt would ruin a barrel. It's got to be the material on the barrel was either too thin there, or it was like just a bad spot in the metal, or something weird going on there. And so I rebuilt the gun again with a shawl barrel with a Verkortsen bolt, and it ran perfectly. I mean, and that's why I did all of my testing with too. It ran great, no issues. So I'm like, well, it's definitely the Kid barrel. So I emailed Kid, and I sent it back to see if they can fix it or what they're going to do with me with it. I have no idea, but it's got to be a bad barrel. I can't imagine anything else it could be. I mean,
did they have you put like a letter of explanation inside there, or did you talk to them, or how do they know what you tried and how you know that it's bad?
Yeah, their return process is kind of hinky. Like they don't give you a number or anything, and I'm thinking I'm going to be on the phone with them a few times. I don't know. We'll see.
And that's funny you mentioned that because I didn't know you bought the Kid until it was too late. You broke it because I had a similar experience where, after seeing my gun, my boss wanted to build another one for himself. So he wanted me to order the 6-inch Kid. We built basically an identical twin to my gun, but just with a 6-inch Kid versus a 4.5-inch cut down barrel. And he had thousands of rounds of CCI suppressor subsonic ammo. And this is like, they're probably 5+ years old. They you could tell because the plastic is orange, like it's a different color plastic that they used to use. And now they use like a different clear, whatever. It's different. And it would not chamber that ammo. And if you took the barrel out and you put the ammo in it, I could measure from the breech face up to the top of the rim. And it wouldn't even chamber that round at all. Huh. It feeds some ammo, and then it wouldn't feed that at all. And unfortunately, he's got thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds of that ammo, and so it kind of has to work with that ammo. And their website says feeds all ammo. Like it is specifically clear. I'm like looking for any warnings on their thing saying, okay, it doesn't work with this type of ammo. Right. Any kind of things that would give them a way out on this deal. And there was nothing. And I called them, and they're just like, yeah, send it in. And I'm like, okay, well, can you guys ream the chamber to make it fit that ammo? We do that all the time with Glock barrels. If somebody makes a reload that is too big or whatever and they want us to ream a barrel, it's no big deal. You freaking put a reamer in there and you ream the barrel out for it. This is common practice. And I sent the barrel into them, and they sent it back saying, oh yeah, it feeds this ammo and it doesn't feed yours. We don't ream barrels. And I'm like, why couldn't you, if you don't ream barrels, and I already asked you to ream a barrel, why wouldn't you tell me that on the front side because I would have saved a trip here. You just cost me a couple weeks back and forth. So I ended up having to send it to a different, Connecticut Precision Chambering took it and reamed it just fine and got those ammos to feed. But like the level of, like, for how much kid gets totally hyped about they have fanboys out the buttocks that are just like, oh, kid is the best ever. Everything's perfect. Everything's great. In my experience so far, we're shooting 0 for 2 so far. And I'm not feeling great about those odds.
Yeah. Don't know. I'll keep you guys posted with what they end up doing, but anyways,
you know, I missed one other tip on the barrel installation. You know, we're talking about torquing it. You can't easily get a torque wrench on those bolts with a regular stubby Allen wrench. I'll put a link in there that I bought these, I think they're 5-inch long ball head Allen bits that you can put on a torque wrench. And that way, since it's ball head, you can go on into the screw on an angle, and then the angle gets the body of the torque wrench away from the barrel, so you can still torque it. So you get projection down in there, and that helped a lot. Because a lot of that, if you're going for accuracy, you know, repeatability is always a big key. So getting the same torque on the V-block, getting the same torque on the action screw every time leads to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing I liked about the 6-inch barrel is my T-handles were long enough to use on it and clear the top of the barrel. So that was nice. And then for the longer shawl barrel, I have a like a screwdriver handle that you can put bits in, and it's a really thin profile handle. And so that worked out pretty well for that too. So anyways, let's get into, so I tested 2 of these. So last time I said, you know, I did this extensive build, and then I realized Ruger makes this pretty much what I already built. Ruger makes this, and it retails for $299, which is like a third of what I put into this other one. And so anyways, I was like, I'm going to get this for comparison. So I ordered this, got it from my local FFL, and it's a 6-inch, or not 6-inch, 8-inch barrel.
The factory is an 8-inch on that one.
Yeah. So factory 8-inch barrel, and then it's got the Picatinny receiver on the back for a brace, and it's got a Picatinny top to it. It comes with a UTG, what do you call it?
iPod, a subpar bipod.
Yeah, a terrible bipod.
Yeah.
But
That's
actually,
one of those things that they just check the list. They, oh, yeah, it comes with a bipod. Yep, check.
I actually used it for testing it, though. Helped out a little bit. So anyways, Zach mentioned I should put an optic on this, or a scope that I can dial in. And so I did that at 50 yards to shoot. You know, this is completely stock. It's a Ruger Charger 8-inch, and you can. And I put the SB Tactical brace on both of them when I was doing it, and otherwise I did it off a table, and I shot just cheap box, you know, the big box ammo, I forget which kind, and I shot CCI mini mags, and then I shot a box of Ely, and I can't remember what kind of Ely it was, but some of the Ely higher end target ammo. Anyways, and, you know, after getting it sighted in and everything, it turned out, you know, they both shoot 1-inch 5-shot groups at 50 yards, which I don't really feel.
That's totally acceptable. I think that's fantastic, because my guns at the 4.5-inch range were basically shotguns when I was doing the testing originally with the non-worked over barrels.
Well, like how bad was it at that?
Like 4, 5, 6 inches.
Really? And you just couldn't get it any better than that?
With the barrel that was just chopped down to 4.5 from the factory, and it was an older barrel, to be fair. I don't know if they've changed their barrel process over the years or whatever, but it was a little bit older barrel. It was a carbine barrel that was chopped to 4.5, and it maybe just the bullets aren't stabilizing themselves at 4.5. And
that could be.
You know, it could be. I don't really know, but as soon as they rechambered them and did the barrel setback and everything, I'm getting in the probably 1.5 or so with
good.
a red dot on it. I didn't put a scope on it, but you know they're totally doable. But I think that I would be super stoked about.
And then you know, I don't know that I can get that with a red dot at 50 yards, Probably not even close.
No, I mean, you shouldn't need to, but that's why you do the optic, just so you know that mechanically the gun is capable of it. Now put a red dot on it, and you know you're going to be at least close enough to do what you're doing.
Exactly. So now my goal is to the stock Ruger Charger is to do some modifications to it and see, if I put the Enoch chassis on it to see how that is, or maybe I'll put the different bolt in it and just do a few upgrades to it and see how that goes. I mean, should be pretty cool.
Did the 10.5-inch barrel get appreciably better results than the factory 8-inch?
No, I felt like they're exactly the same, actually.
Isn't that kind of ridiculous?
Yeah.
I mean, for all the weight disadvantage the Shaw gives you and all that, and it didn't do any better. I mean, that's to me that seems crazy. But I mean, I guess if you're starting from scratch, you're probably not going to buy an OEM barrel when a Shaw is probably right around the same price if you're just buying the barrel. But it's funny. I have that video of all those PMACA chassis and explaining all the differences and everything. And I got a comment the other day on YouTube that said like, "Oh, how much money do you have in all this?" And I just like, I wouldn't, at this point, I wouldn't even do this. I would buy that gun that you just have right there, put a brace on it, put an optic on it, and be done. Like, I don't think in that configuration you get that much better output having a chassis versus just that plastic stock with a brace on it. I think you get 99.9% of all the functionality at a tenth of the cost.
Well, I mean, the chassis look way cooler, but there is that.
Yeah. What are we doing here? Just buying guns that look cool? Well, yes, but still.
That's the Zach way. I mean,
well, it is. But I learned my lesson after purchasing everything, and then realized, that wasn't worth it.
Here, I've been following in your footsteps, and then you're just crapping over everything I do.
No, but for anybody that is sane and starts from scratch, buy the freaking Ruger that's already done, and just put a suppressor on it, put an optic, put a brace, and you are done.
So I did get another chassis. I got the Enoch Deep 6.
On the heels of that statement, here's another chassis how much does that one cost?
So this one was $200 even because there was a coupon code. There was a coronavirus coupon code, and it was a blim too. So I feel like it was a really good deal, and it's pewter color, so it's pretty cool looking. So I just realized I can put this chassis on the Ruger because the barrel's long enough to see what that does. And then I can also use it. Originally, I was thinking, I'll use this because it's a longer chassis. I'll use this with a Shaw barrel because it's such a, it's way too long, heavy of a barrel for the smaller chassis. But like they weigh almost the same. These chassis are so light. Like
it's aluminum, so it's probably only 2 inch. It's one. Is it one M-lock slot? The length difference is it 3 versus 2 M-lock slots on the side? Is that the difference in length?
Yeah, roughly. Yeah, I'd say so. They're if you hold them side to side, the M-lock slots don't line up, so they like stretched it out in different ways. So
interesting. Yeah. Well, I think the Deep 6, the whole point of that, what they say is, just to tuck a 6-inch barrel and tuck half, a quarter your suppressor down in the chassis. So that makes sense.
Right.
And it looks good with that. But as long as your 8-inch barrel clears the chassis, man, I think that'd be the go-to combo if you're putting extra money in it. Drop that factory Ruger in there, upgrade maybe some of the parts if you want to. Oh yeah, that'll clear. Yeah. That's going to look really cool. Maybe put the compensator on that. It would look cool tucked in right against the forearm.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that might be a winning combo now that I'm looking at it. But I think the takeaway here is that you guys, if you're looking to get into 22s, whether it's a 1022 Charger or rifle, I'd say it's a good place to start because it's a super easy gun to mess around with, pull apart, add parts to it, figure out what you like, figure out what you don't like. Because my first iteration here is just stupid, just completely stupid. Like it's like I felt like a mall ninja when I put that one together. But
that optic is not proportional for that gun.
No, not at all. But then when I got the 6-inch barrel and got the house on, I'm like, this looks really badass. And like without the stock on it, I'm like, this is really dope. I mean, I kind of felt like the Mandalorian or like Han Solo because it's a pretty cool pistol.
So now the plan is if the kid comes back fixed, are you going to take the Shaw off and put the 6-inch barrel in the shorter Enoch chassis and have that good to go? And then you're going to buy another receiver to put back in the factory plastic chassis and put the 10.5-inch in there? Or are you just going to cut your losses and have 2 guns?
I don't know what I feel like the Shaw is a good barrel, but I don't really see a purpose for it. I
don't see the use case that makes sense. If it's not more accurate than a super light 8-inch barrel, why have all the extra weight and heft?
Yeah. I mean, unless you just want the longer stabilizing, to maybe even shoot farther, because the 1022 Charger has been like such an old fuddy gun for because it's been around forever, in the Woodstock version. The 1022 Charger used to be like that one quote unquote pistol that like hunting gun shops would have, where they didn't carry any other pistols. Maybe they carried 1911s, but they'd have a Ruger Charger because it would be a bench rest. I guess it'd be like a bench rest shooting gun or something.
Yeah, that's why it comes with the bipod. Right. And now that we're in like gun generation 2.0, 3.0, whatever we're in, and we can use braces and we're building these cool chassis builds and everything, it's like a completely different animal, which is really, really cool. Well, I don't know if you remember, but like 10 years ago, the Ruger was discontinued. I mean, the Charger as it stood was discontinued. They got rid of it.
Okay.
And then when the braces came back, then they reintroduced it. And now they're even getting smarter and smarter and doing the pick rail back. I'd be curious, is there a cheaper pick rail? Maybe if it doesn't fold or something, like, is there any other pick rail braces out there that are out there that maybe are less expensive? Because you could, in theory, do a brace, the plastic factory stock with the bipod, the 10.5-inch barrel, and put a scope on that gun and make that your long range 1022, and then have the 6-inch and the 8-inch ones as your fun guns with the chassis on them.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Need a new receiver and another bolt. But how many? You probably got like 10 extra parts.
I almost ordered a receiver this week, but I stopped myself. I'm like, no, because they were back in stock at Brownells. And I was like, no, and they were on sale, but I'm like, no, I'm going to wait. I gotta
just get 1 or 2 extra just for.
I know I wanted to buy like 5.
Well, that's what I mean. I shouldn't talk because I've got an extra stripped regular and a stripped takedown in my safe, just waiting for extra, the inspiration to hit me to build another one. But I just wanted to be ready because I thought Brownells was discontinuing all those.
But the economy's crashing, everyone's losing their jobs, so I'm like, maybe I should save money or not spend money I don't have.
Like poor people problems.
No, yeah, it sounds like common sense people problems or something. Gun guys don't have those problems. Gun guys just throw it all on a credit card and buy whatever.
Yeah. And remember, they're an investment. They're going to be worth more than the Boogaloo.
Yeah, I mean, it's an investment. It doesn't matter if it's on a credit card. It's an investment.
Well, keep telling yourself that. Well, I'm curious to see what kid does for that 6-inch barrel. I hope they fix it and send it back to you or give you a new barrel. And then I hope you install it properly without sandpaper. And then, I think it'll be good. I think if it was me and you get the kid back, I'd probably put the Volquartsen barrel with the kid barrel, or Volquartsen bolt with the kid barrel, and the factory barrel with the factory bolt.
Yeah, right. So
that's just me.
I mean, this has the factory bolt in it, the factory barrel. So,
but your chassis gun on the other side had a Volquartsen in it, right? And that's I guess if you're pulling that barrel off, you're just gonna swap it. I gotcha. Okay, yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what. Well, does anyone else make a 6-inch like kid does?
Well, I think actually Enoch does, right? I mean, because they're selling barrels too.
I didn't
they got a
know
6er
that.
right below it. Yeah, it's right below the chassis. If you go to Enoch's products page, I think they're made by Tactical Solutions, if I remember right. Tactical Solutions X-Ring. That's a beautiful barrel because I think that's super light because I think it has an aluminum shroud with a steel liner in it. Yeah, 6061 aluminum with a steel liner. So that would actually be super lighter than the kid barrel because the kid barrel is all steel all the way through. It's a little pricey, $215. I think that, what was that kid, like 150?
Yeah, 150.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a little more expensive, but it is kind of neat. And then they make a 9-inch version as well. The Niner, they call it.
They're all out of stock now. Bummer.
The 6-inch or the 9-inch?
9, every color they're out.
Oh, yeah. I'd be curious if, well, that leads me to believe that Tactical Solutions makes them too, unless they're just doing a special version only for Enoch, but I don't know. Well, the nice thing is you have time, so you can kind of just, you have a barrel right now to get you by. And,
yeah, I'll see what happens here. Maybe I can find some. I've been watching Gunbroker to see if I can find a used one come up, but there's so little parts that come up for chargers anyways. It's kind of discouraging on that front. So
I think you got a couple cool guns there. Just got to finish them all, get them all back together.
Yeah, I'll probably order another one of these Hollow Suns at some point, or maybe a similar Hollow Sun to see how I like it versus this one.
Yeah. So what reticle is that? Is that dot, circle dot? Which one is it?
It's a circle. It's a 2 MOA circle, red dot.
Red dot. So it's red dot, and then is it the one with the interchangeable reticles, or is it just a straight dot?
Oh, I think it's just a dot. I don't think there's any.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot, and I've got not all. I've got a couple of the different versions. Ones with the interchangeable reticle, and I pretty much just leave them on dot anyways. So it's one of those things that, yeah, it's nice to have the ability, but you're probably not going to use it very often. Yeah,
for sure. So, anyways, I'll keep you guys posted on here on my ventures in 1022 builds. I did see that Ruger released their, what's that PPC they have?
The PC charger, I think they called it. Pistol caliber. The 9mm blowback gun.
Yeah. So, yeah, they released that as a pistol with a Picatinny on the back, just like this 1022 charger. So my funny story, my FFL here is a kitchen table, FFL, like literal kitchen table, and it's an older lady and her son. I think it was originally like mom and dad originally ran this, and the dad passed away, so now the son's doing it with mom still, and like that mom has to be like somewhere close to 70, and the son's probably somewhere close to 50, somewhere around there. And this is the middle of nowhere, South Dakota. And so this, I go to pick up the charger, and, she goes to show me, what came in for me. And she's like, this is the Ruger. And she's like, this is kind of a scary one. She's like, we usually don't get things like this in. She's like, I don't know what you're going to do with it. I'm like, I like scary.
We'll just wait for the next ones to come through, lady.
Yeah.
I saw that you sent me the link to that charger, or the PC one, and I don't know if I like the looks of it. I mean, the one thing I don't like is if you look at the handguard, it's an oval, and the barrel sits in the very top of the oval. It's not centered like a regular gun. It just looks weird to me. And I was watching a video on it, and they say that the barrel is like a heavy profile barrel, and the whole thing is like really front heavy, because I guess the handguard has a bunch of webbing in the inside of the handguard, and they said it's super front heavy. And I'm just like, that's not ideal.
Well, so yeah, I don't like the looks of it either. And I don't like the looks of it with the Ruger mags. I think it actually looks better with the Glock mags, which really don't look great either. But my take on it, I'm really glad they're doing it, because it'll open up, hopefully, people doing chassis for it that actually look cool. Mm-hmm. Buy that, drop it in a chassis. I mean, that'll be, some of the cooler, pistol caliber carbines out there. You'll still come under their price point, like the CMG Banshee or whatever. You could probably build a Ruger version of that with a chassis if someone makes one for a lot less.
I'm sure they already will do, because I know Midwest Industries made one for the carbine version of that gun, so there's already a precedent there.
Right. Yeah, and then it's got Ruger behind it for everything else. So
yeah, exactly.
Anyways, so are you doing any 1022 mods or anything anytime soon? Or are you all done playing around with them.
I'm going to wait for you to get sick of that Enoch and sell me that Enoch.
Which one do you want?
The 9-inch one, or the 6-inch, the 6er, deep 6 one.
No, I don't know. They're both really cool.
Well, I wanted just to talk a suppressor. So I think what I'm going to if I do, I may swap my PMACA chassis at some point. But what I would probably do is, have that Q suppressor that is the baffles, the Q erector. So each baffle, you can make it as long or short as you need to. And I think it would look cool if I put the 4.5-inch barrel and built just enough baffles to get it just past the handguard. And it would look really cool because it's also got that pewter color like your chassis. They're raw baffles too, so that's got the same color code to it.
Huh. Cool. And then Enoch. The name, I don't know if it comes from the Bible or not, but talking Enoch, I was like, I know that name, and then I was reading my Bible this morning. It's actually character in the Bible, a guy in the Bible that he was like swept up to heaven without dying or something was his story. But thought that was interesting.
See, when I read Enoch, I always think eunuch. So it's a whole different meaning.
It's hilarious. Well, eunuchs are in the Bible too, so.
Well, yeah. I don't know if I want to make my gun a eunuch though. It's like, all barrel, no ball, no ammo.
Well, that's why you have to get the testicle foregrip or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And with that, Patriot Patch Company makes this nonsense possible. You can check out the Patch of the Month Club at patriotpatch.co. Also check out the cleaning mats and the gun safety sign. If you guys are like setting up a place on your property to shoot, have these really cool 4 rules of gun safety aluminum indoor-outdoor signs that you can pick up at patriotpatch.co. Also, if you're looking for website design, graphic design, go check out Hunter of Design. Ryan Cross runs that. He does all the awesome patch design for Patriot Patch Co., but he can also help you out with any of your artwork needs. Check out hunterofdesign.com. And Zach, where can people connect with you online?
Take a look at Zack Carlson Writer on YouTube, and same as on Instagram. Now that the season is starting the weather's starting to warm up a little bit, I'm trying to line up all my spring-summer projects. So I'll talk about those on our next upcoming shows if everything pans out well.
Awesome. Well, you can reach us at gunguyradio@gmail.com. Don't forget to check out all the other awesome shows here on the Firearms Radio Network. And thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
That's a wrap. We'll see you next week.
This has been a production of the Firearms Radio Network. You can find more information at firearmsradio.tv.